my friends, what is up and what is good? In today's video, I want to address an argument that a lot of these internet atheist types like to bring up. And in this particular video, I want to specifically address the Christian theist in order to explain exactly what I'm talking about, but this explanation can apply to any sort of theist. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be addressing the Christian theist. Now, as a Christian theist, I'm sure in your many dialogues over the years with atheists, at some point you've no doubt came across this argument which says, well, you as a Christian are just as much of an atheist as I am to particular gods like Allah, Zeus, Thor, Krishna, etc. Now, the reason why they say this is because they are trying to make it seem like that you are using your reasoning faculties rationally, just like they are, except when you are looking at one specific deity, like the Abrahamic God of the Bible, you all of a sudden abandon your rational faculties, your rational thinking ability, and then you apply a particular prejudice and bias against that particular deity, that particular God concept. And what they're saying is, look, we're really no different than one another. But the only difference is I'm rational in how I approach all God concepts, all deity concepts. You are not being rational in how you approach this concept. You are being rational to these other ones, but for some reason you have this sort of bias and prejudice against this one God. Why is that? That's the reason why they try to lump you into being an atheist just like they are. But there's a fatal problem with this. And if you haven't noticed this before, I'm going to try to explain it as best as I can. The fatal problem with this goes back to a principle called universal quantification. And I'll try to explain it the best way I can, but here's a quick breakdown, a quick summary. In predicate logic, a universal quantification is a type of quantifier, a logical constant which is interpreted as given any or for all. It expresses that a propositional function can be satisfied by every member of a domain of discourse. In other words, it is the predication of a property or relation to every member of the domain. It asserts that a predicate within the scope of a universal quantifier is true of every value of a predicate variable. I know that sounds complicated, but it can be easily explained in the following way. And I was having a discussion with an atheist when I was talking about this. So this is the reason why I screen shared this, so I can reference the conversation I had and explain how to properly apply the principle of universal quantification. So there was this atheist by the name of Nigel1337 you see here. And he was making that same argument that you Christians are atheists to other gods. And here's how I responded. And I was talking to another Christian when I said this. And I said, Baka game, don't fall into Nigel's word games. When he says something like, with respect to Allah, Isis, and Kronos, he is an atheist. He is trying to reject the universal quantification principle to apply atheism in parts, instead of as applying it to every member of a domain. Take the word misogynist, which is one who hates or mistrusts women. But what if someone mistrusted a woman like Hillary Clinton or like Katy Perry? It's just like if someone said, you're a misogynist in respect to Hillary Clinton and Katy Perry. Instead of applying the universal quantification principle to all women, this person simply cuts the misogyny definition into parts to make it seem like showing mistrust to even one woman can deem someone to be a misogynist, and that principle simply isn't true. One has to mistrust all women to be a misogynist according to the universal quantification principle. Also, it distorts those who legitimately aren't misogynists and makes it seem like the real misogynists are less radical people because after all, even if you do not trust one woman, you're just as much of a misogynist as the person who does not trust any women at all. It tries to make most or all men into misogynists to some degree in order to make them comparable to actual misogynists. This is what he's doing with atheism, The usual definition of an atheist, according to the Encyclopedia of Philosophy, is someone who expresses the proposition that there is no God. Then atheists like Nigel take this definition, then completely distort to mean atheists in respect to certain gods, instead of expressing the proposition that there is no gods at all. Instead of expressing the proposition there is no gods at all. It's a dishonest word game and a dishonest tactic to try to put theists and atheists into the same boat to a minor or major degree. But that's all they're really doing, my friends. All these atheists are doing is taking the definition of atheism, trying to chop it up into parts, and trying to encompass Christians and atheists into the same boat. It's intellectually dishonest for the same reason that taking the definition of what a misogynist is, cutting it into parts, and then trying to encompass even non-misogynists into that same boat. And he responded by saying, "You're the one playing word games that have missed the point entirely, blah, 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 blah. You guys can read this later." But I responded by simply saying, "Look, Nigel, I addressed your argument quite well and refuted it quite well. You reject the universal quantification principle and tried to lump Christians and atheists into the same boat to minor or major degrees, directly or indirectly. It's exactly like trying to lump a man who mistrusts Hillary Clinton as doing the same thing as actual misogynists who mistrust all women. Applying your argument in this context, it's like saying that the actions of mistrust of Hillary Clinton is similar to that of a misogynist, in such that a person shows a mistrust in a woman and a misogynist does the same thing. Such intellectually dishonest reasoning does not separate non-misogynists from misogynists. You are doing the same kind of crap with atheism. According to the universal quantification principle, in no sense is one who mistrusts Hillary Clinton like a misogynist. In the same way, according to the universal quantification principle, in no sense is one who does not believe in Allah, being a Christian, like an atheist. You are taking well-established principles and distorting them to fallaciously lump differing entities into the same boat, and it's intellectually dishonest. You are playing word games, not us theists." And that's basically the end of the conversation. At least at this point of me recording the video, that was the end of the conversation. So that's pretty much it, my friends. You just gotta be able to identify when atheists use this argument. You gotta understand what the universal quantification principle is and how to rightfully apply it, and then identify exactly where the fallacy is in their approach. So that's it for this video, my friends. I always appreciate you guys supporting me, and it's just, words just can't describe you guys' support. It means more than you can possibly know. So give this video a like, comment, share this video, and subscribe. Until later on, take care, God bless, peace.